gam gole ba koma mandinkol ko niamo e kamoto lati e salon dindingo do bar furduk wo mu kebalti season 2 of Tonyaa Kesso e execute luntan sifa belbe tarlale nyim banta ba nyim bembato ka fo me Tonyaa Kesso Alhaji Muhammad aya teda men jela kadiya sponsored by Seaview Hotel bar jomal ba ko ma pour ka sembentu ya wolom gangoti Gambia bele dabe nyim programme ote mutanfe nga mutefe nga nyoya nyola season 2 of Tonyaa Kesso execute ni nambe dula le mealon ka foka nene man soto nyim banko kan ni nyim programme o ye dang anin saya le kanyante Tonyaa Kesso adabe mutala lun jomalla on this 8th of February from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. akana modang katung nae dang wallahi bekala lakira fure wolti toro nimi soni moneo gam gole ba
Downfall comes from a sense of patriotism and also wanting to see this country, this beautiful country, on the global stage, competing and also collaborating with the rest of the world.
Wolom Tonyaati mobe dawdan ding felen natale another episode of Tonyaa Kesso. Being a very young man, Lastaja Meala is very determined and then manke moti men nukunta. So nabe kacha fango dikinde la bi banko bita kanyame pola fango bekela kacha kumudi because ku jamal bi men nyantaka kacha. Bismillah Kexx Sanneh.
Baraka bake kontanta pour kanela platform ot.
Wolom Tonyaati ndiko Kexx Sanneh. Jomalam Kexx Sanneh ti awuluta minto abota mintole andala karonke mintole
baraka bake kontanta bake Kexx Sanneh wala famon toti Kexx mo Kexx mo nickname leti modi nomen zafo dindi yati fulale ben originally mboda nyaminale do safo nyamboda katamina originally na wululal boda wolto bande sita piñayle on tele lombake ka fame ko nyamina piñabe siaral kono nyamina west ma fon la mboda je ngana karambonke brikama because na dad be stere wolto men kamunda ko jamisa primary school ngana school in that wolto for grade 6 mboda wodon dada minda o junior secondary school nga ma woto den nata muru nyamina ndara dankungu nga dankungu junior secondary school ma for grade 9 ngana common entrance seat woto ngo seat woto den nata ta amitage ka fame ko membe janjambure amitage ngana school en ke woto
wadan ki arts for commerce
nga arts le study has a field then nata laban Kauru senior secondary school me anon graduate a wolto then from there nata Kombojang then I engage in GTTI from there then I work with Gam Petroleum when they were building the storage facility that's who is Kexx.
Okay, that's fine. O kumata back follow mba kumasla dami nga jela nunko Facebook ñen lungul kon ya ki jela ko court report ni bo bulal follow for fenne or trigger bank for you are disappointed with something or you may expect him now today or you have a new journey to begin with.
Yeah, golongo ni nata yakilo tu wajala ka bentolo men fe ka fole 1st of April mulka nyo yaya wala ka nyo tulung I ka fome ko April Fool so I was trying to just create a drama or just a fun kind of mola ko to see the reaction of the people but nata jego people definitely appreciate what I am doing but also I'm thinking of personal development going to the university because going to the court has given me the opportunity to have love with Luala Karola another Luang nkanundi bake Luala Karola because nkakwa interested in law ndum na hamo bijele ajane ba flo nyina sama be banna pour kata university to me alon kon si Luwa Karanje anata ka manke combat practice la but at least see idea londo soro je bari hamo ben pour kata député bungo to bari last parliamentary election to lotale no pour kata député odi
coming to that ngajala ko in NPP la ñoo sabaje so wo kuol fon keta ñaadile ko keta ñaadile
yeah Tonyaa leng nte mboda political party o men ka fo le People Democratic Organization for Independence and Socialism PDOIS for the history of Nyamina West PDOIS nana man candidate o londi je but ndengaje ko fatu lonte boda Nyamina lante do mu Nyamina dingol de wan kaje ko on the previous one so ka debate ol men soro je yana Nyamina jibe no Nyamina fana da be Gambia le kono me alon ko is part of taxpayers me alon ko tax lejo to contribute do loi nyina fako bankola namo me alon ko mobe kajo anyanda katala banko dingol tema be kanya bar kaje ko Nyamina ka fenti me alon ko tel buge hakoso do no man sakunda do ndum wada soro no la foye mol soro melan ko be sirin député bon to bankola na fulo ka tala da men to ka fo men na budget ka discuss da men foye mo soro je me alon ko be diam la Nyamina to yala men ka munda ko Nyamina West sa ya Nyamina fana sini yo soro je ngaje ko den nintel mele alon ko at least nga londin dingo soro nana da député wala karola because janni wote ma sanji lulu sa fon tebe attach in parliament lete FD be sirin parliament to ngalon parliament ka Nyame wada di procedures akata ma Nyame so na do soro je ko den nin sita manta pour ka Nyamina bondin dum e sulata mola me alon ka be bondin the member represent the deputy bondo wada kamunda ko I feel my responsibility as a citizen of Nyamina then kombe wura la pour nga dung kafo kono men kamunda ko place ñino ñinna ala nata ke nata donje nata political party 6 soto mela lan ko be contest that Nyamina West constituency ñinna wa UDP soto le nga PDOI soto nga NPP soto nga NUP soto nga GDC soto je and nga one independent candidate soto je nata ke 6 candidate to mela lan ko le contest Nyamina la vote is less than 5,300 and something votes le
5,300 so ita jiki fe monat ne tama win no
yeah actually konga fo Nyame the first is Nyamina man doylong Doi has never contested in Nyamina constituency has Nyamina West has a constituency for the history so akamunda ko mo kutole taraje mealan ko is introducing a new political party in Nyamina na gambe jang na kate fayo ka Nyame the issue is not about the personality ambuka kate of because of nyimare do ko until we always vote based on party lines ka anda ne kontela party ola bijang ndu nyina nyinte so very few people mealan ko they look at the competence of the person pour ka kate of so another factor mealan ko this is the first time until our intention was not just to go there to win but I was there to make sure that ko hanima win but I cement that numbers mealan ko ngol so ha foundation ngole then coming next then by then already I have done the introduction and people will know that who is Kexx and what I'm capable of doing.
Then in Jamal Tata head to head.
Yeah, actually NPP lay 4 star, then it follows by UDP, then independent candidate third, then I came fourth, then you followed by New Party and the other political GDC. So akeda wala nyama jabo ni nata margin OGB is either 30, 20 votes, 14 votes. Those are the difference. So the difference was not actually much. But then even after losing, it's not just my intention, just to contest for its sake. But the intention of moment, even though I win, and I make sure that I win as the National Assembly member for Nyamina, I gave him my ideas.
Jamal nada win.
Biramso, Labije. And Tafana man nada wala nada ke modi I continue working with the people of Nyamina, the few things that I can bring to Nyamina. And so far I've been doing certain development there with the help of Operation Save the Baby. Amejaju, help me. Saying we are building a maternity ward. Me alonka musululu si wuluno at the same time in Nyamina West, and we played that with her. And we need this because we don't tell the constituency don't musu a full benta wulu dungo kono e kanyoba tule because only dula kili nebi laran kili nebi me alonka mosi wuluno je. Then I will go out to philanthropies, and Amejaju was a very supportive person. Me alonka now we are building at least me alonka to be 5 maternity wards. Maboholol sinje me alonka dara for 6 for 7 through our own help. So community.
So what is the sitting MP doing there?
Actually, that's the issue me alonko Nyamina nkol nyanta ka determine because ikamel kumbontelia as we are not elected person, but they come and knock at our doors. Kantandila ko a community is there that is struggling to have a clean drinking water until we are not holding their position. But until bakeke, then that shows that ko MP me alonko osindia and trust with their wealth because because nataka fenke there's what we call a constituency development fund. No amanke kodi to me alonko kodi ndingole. So even after 5 years, not a constituency development fund, or I can pump back to the community. I don't think there will be a place in Nyamina. Me alonko ajanda ka kumbo jikuola because boholo na siata 200 wala 175 175, you can dig a borehole. So how many 175 level constituency development for no? And as a sitting National Assembly member, you have that opportunity, that privilege to knock onto NGOs, other government institutions, whereby they can help you. Like until we are not in any position, but we go and knock into NGOs and they give us boreholes and we take them to the community because we feel like every human being, even UN has declared that nobody should drink in an open well. It's not something that is healthy. So at this 21st century, in Bangkok, it's drinking from an open well. So we take it as
still
up to now, and that's the only source they have. So they have no other option to drink it, and there's no filter system geo-filter before you start using it, And this is why we are trying our all best to make sure that we knock. Just last week, I was from another NGO, to knock on the other villages to see how best we can help them with clean drinking water. So far, this is our responsibility, and we are optimistic that the people know that we are not just there for the position, but we want to serve them. And anytime they entrust us to serve them, we'll continue to serve them.
All right, we'll continue to serve them. And this brings us to we are in the campaign year of this year to next year. And then President Ojale and Akafinti wato dola ka diamu dol ke manul ni sukurul ni domorol la fanala. And then Dr. Caesar Fanam being information minister. I think we start with him. So ite ni ko Dr. Caesar Felentirin saying he's on a weighing scale. His performance, his information to the public, will you rate him or not?
Yeah, actually, we will. Number one, you look at what is his role in the government. So all the time now the platform or the has to be a very accurate information. Because banko dati. Wala Masakunda dati government information minister or the fembe bolate bul nyanda ka fenne de mialonka nyanda ka accurate information, but so far ikajako so many times ikajako people then after his utterance wala information on I pass, then it's fact check ikanaje actually amended is not something that was accurate, so ka advice ka intandala ko his person mialonko he's representing government, and the authorities speak that it has to be based on facts and it has to be based on evidence. So anyanda ka modi mialonka manyanda ka how jinabe information or dealer, let him go. He has the opportunity to call any ministry before going to a radio station. Kantandila, I'm going to West Coast, I'm going to Fatu Network, and these are the issues they should actually ask us. And you ask clarity. You go there, and I think government should be on top of information in terms of when it comes to the basic needs of the citizens. Banko sulata fengol menna, wanyanda ka fendi mealanko mansakunda should be on top of it. It tells manyanda ka finti ka information odi mola mealanko ama accurate. Then that means that they don't know the sufferings of their people, because niko ko mane bottom $1,700 when the citizens are buying it for $2,000 or $1,900. Then that means that you, the person, has an authority member doesn't know the suffering of the people, because you must know those things so that you will make the policies and the programs in terms of how do you move away from just importing rice to this country, but also creating those avenues whereby we will grow our own rice in this country. And if you look at the amount of money Kamen spend in terms of importing the rice that is coming to this country, almost it's counting in millions of dollars. But if you make sure that you create that avenue whereby we'll grow our own rice, then that 3 million plus is going into the hands of the farmers. Then you are moving them from just being a mere farmer, but upgrading their life to be earners in the country. So these are the direction Melanco Yantakari. So as Doctor as a Minister of Information, and I think so far he started brilliantly at the initial stage by bringing government close to the people, having press conference every week, inviting one particular ministry to come and face this.
So what has changed in your opinion?
Yeah, but suddenly things has changed, and I think that trajectory should have changed. But what leads to that change, even though they're having this Mansakunda and other things, bringing government close, but when it's come to giving out information, when it goes to the public, it looks like sometimes he goes with sentiments or emotions because of certain caricatures that are going on the social media. But he needs to understand that government, the citizens has the right to criticize their government if they fail to deliver the service that they need. But he should not be emotional when he's giving information. Let him understand that that's the citizens. They are the owners of the country. They dictate how the country should be run. That's why when you go to these chapters of the Constitution, it tells you that the role of a government is to promote the general welfare of its citizens, and any government that doesn't do that is not fit to govern. So it's the general welfare of its citizens. So the citizen has to right, to criticize that government if their general welfare are not being catered for. So doctors should understand that. But for now, what we have been seeing, if I am to weigh him 10 scale to 10, I will say that is below 6/10.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's below 6/10.
10, absolutely.
Okay, now in terms of the president in fighting corruption. Because nkajala wati commission ol kanabar fembuka chije. Every time is a commission of inquiry so is that an inconsistency from the presidency itself?
Yeah, actually, it has to start from him. And the last time when I heard him talking, when he was asked a question by one of the journalists, corruption in Bangkok, and we have seen so many reports, from the audit reports. So other department, there are reports that are coming from there. Your government is labeled as corruption is rampant in your government, but his answer was something that was not actually expected. To say that corruption is as old as mankind, that means that you are justifying
the president.
Yes, yeah, that was his response. That was unfortunate. That should not come from the president. If somebody is accusing your government, I think you should have told them that we are working on, since you have established what we call the Anti-Corruption Commission. Already there was a bill that was prepared. It goes to the National Assembly. All the needfuls were done. Now it's left to establishment of the institution. I think you should say that we are working on to tackle corruption, and already we have passed the law, and now we are trying to build the institution, and people will be appointed that are of high integrity, that are people that are God-fearing, to make sure that we end corruption, certain activities that some of the government officials be menkeka in other Bankola Karola. That would have been the best answer. But so far we have not seen that. We have seen the audit report. When it comes out, the president's utterance was now audit report is just a mere opinion. And this is not helping in terms of actually how do you fight corruption. So omu felle mele alonko de ikumaya batala. So ibajala ko nimmo bafule ko the farm pare follow at this material time to fight corruption, and this is why it is rampant. Because it has to start from the head. The moment the head where decision or to make sure that corruption will not be entertained, and it start to set samples, people that are found wanting by corrupt practice, then actually you will know. But so far we have only seen only one individual from senior government official, that's Bamba Banjang, who was actually once prosecuted for corrupt activities. About Awala we have not seen, but allegations or facts, evidence are everywhere that we are even presently investigating an issue regarding about the Ministry of Health, that is before the fraud squad, where government officials went and purchased Toyota Parado that cost $3.5 million, but they went and buy it for $7 million because they had an agreement with few individual people that let's put it $7 million.
$7 million.
$7 million. And
instead of 3.5.
3.5. But the market value is 3.5. But in their invoice and whatever happens, they said $7 million. That's the cost. And now the matter is before the fraud squad doing investigation. And these are senior government officials, very close. Permanent secretaries, directors and other departments. So these are issues that that this is close to the president. You cannot say that you are not aware of these things. You must set the samples. So tell the Gambian people that I will not encourage this thing, because you look at our health sector, it's crumbling. So if 14 Toyota Parados, 3.5 times 14, that's how much? $45 million has just gone into individual pockets. If that one is invested into the health sector, people will not be struggling to have parastamons in our hospitals. Everything they need to go and buy it from the pharmacies. How many people
now
can afford
we come
this?
to health.
Yeah.
Health is a general concern for the citizens.
Absolutely.
But dol fang ya fala ko bilim presidency da ne manta sasa tol jube leptanot. So ite o ko nyadila.
Yeah, one more friend that me along like konga fo nyame banko ya lore president mole sindi. And ibije pour mola, and once you care about the people that you govern, then people will now love you. This is a person who cares about me, and we have seen it where president in other parts of the world, like a would like emergency, they just go and visit people at the hospital, and they go and visit people at the military barracks. They go and visit even football grounds. Unexpectedly, it's good. It's a good practice. Nayake is a good practice, but now he has a ministry that is working under the health sector. Mealonko is a minister of health, and he works directly because
so
he
it's
appointed.
not constitutional.
Well, it's not a requirement, but if you do it, like good practice are things we should emulate, to do it, because it shows you, it gets you closer to the people that elect you in the office, and it shows that the people that elect you, you care about them if you do. But Nima Kefana is not something that is legally binding on you to do it, but good practice is always accepted anywhere, and we will encourage him to always do good practice. Alongo is good, and it will sell your image, and it will make you closer to the people that put you into that office. It will be a good recommendation that we will give to the president.
All right, so Molko campaign yala be caring wala na president fana saying abe silol do ku kan komo silol bondi kan abe do ku kan because nga jela komin Tonyaa sila jama abe do ku kan.
Absolutely.
But ita fanana own opinion, is it coming like kula meyala nyanta kela juna before this year, or this year ba keka ngina kampurka use as a campaign tool? Coming in your own opinion.
No, sometimes, until we never graduate from politics, wale na bankota until we politics 24 hours. From after the election, we continue politicking until the next election. But sometimes, Nyandaka understand, development is important. And it's not all the time. Sometimes when government does, even though we are in the opposition, but when they do something that is good, let's all applaud them. Kantandila ko yemenke is good. Kafoko ye ngamansa kunda jole and they are there to make sure that they do the right thing. Yes, it's good, but sometimes iko mosi bo elasu wasi bori nyaonya nika ako mosi regwato do afana kala fala ka kontanda. So kake kule de mele alonko we seen that now in terms of traffic, it has eased the traffic. Saying like when I was coming here, Mansela Manabakan to come here. I just use these shortcuts. Within 30 minutes or 15 minutes, I'm here, coming all the way from Latikunda Jam. And that's development. We are seeing it. And these are issues, even before Barrow come into office, they were there because this OIC project was initiated by the former president, Yahya Jammeh. So Barrow just came on because government is continuity. One government, Kabojele, Emen, Tujedo, and I pick. So if Barrow comes and continue those plans, so I don't think it should be seen in a political angle, but it should be seen in a development.
Politicized.
Yes, it should be seen in a development angle.
Crime rate,
here
and there, robbery occurring, here and there, murder occurring. What do you think is the cause of this? Are the police not doing their work, or the security is not, they are not functioning as they should?
Yeah, factor Jamal Lebije, science and from Yundum, Egomo Fataji, and I just made a comment on what's on Gambia, and Dilako, Masakundara role is very, very important. The role of the government is Purka Mola Neo Tanka, and la property sol tanka, lives and properties, Mulemo Masakundara do Kode. Watola no Niamo mo fata, Janiba Mola Kodeke, Sida for Karisaba for Karinani, Emawe mo fa, but Sakamunta almost is a daily thing. And Neobeke can Banko, Masakundala. Doko moment now you need to look at the cost factor. Now by this time there must be an emergency session whereby the government will call to say that the rate of how people are dying in this country, people killing each other, people are coming to break people's house forcibly. It should be a concern to a government to make sure that they call an emergency, so to look at the cost. What is cost in it? Because every problem there must be a cost factor. And that's the responsibility of the government, so that you come with a policy. Whether it's because of the lack of unemployment, you have to know. Is it because of drug abuse? You have to know, so that you make sure that you put to tackle those issues. But if you sit down like a fire brigade system, you just rush there, police goes there, they do their investigation, somebody is arrested, taken to the courts, and tomorrow again it's happened. You are not solving the issue. You must know the cost factor. What is the cost factor? People are killing every day. And if the government fails in their responsibility, we have a National Assembly. This is an emergency. They should call an emergency session to make sure that they establish what we call a task force to go and investigate this matter, or compel the government to investigate what is the high rate of killing in this country. Because we know that there are domestic violence that maybe police can, like things that happens in your house. Police cannot, they cannot be policing inside your house. We understand those things. If it happens in the streets and other, one could have said, but these are some of the domestic violence that are happening inside the house, like a brother and a sister has an argument, then you take a knife and you snap him, or the younger brother and the sister has an argument, or a watchman that is working for you inside your house decided that you are a millionaire, he decided to kill you so that he will steal your property. Those are domestic. The police cannot be inside those compounds to know those things. So sometimes we know, but what is the cost factor? Why is it happening? Government should take a responsibility to investigate this. Within this month, almost 5 or 6, people, this is a state of emergency, because when lives are lost, then we have a state of emergency in the country. So government should take its responsibility to investigate this matter. And if they are not doing that, it shows that, the lack of concern about what is happening to the lives and the properties of their citizens. People's livelihood has been attacked, like what happens in Balangar, what happens in other parts of the world. You go and attack somebody and you take all his life investment. These are things that government should take it as a concern. So for me, I would recommend that let them investigate, like establish a task force, from all security intelligence officers, communities, imams, religious leaders. So what is the cost? Like people now, Imansila, they can even do it in the daytime. So there must be a cost factor. Something must lead people to, because before this was not known. So now Kex can sign, then government should know that. So you need to do that investigation, whether it's about abuse of drug, whether it's about unemployment, people are not employed, they become frustrated in their country, and now they can go into anything, go and steal people's property to survive because they want to be survived. Or there's another factor that is there. Either it's about how we upgrade our children. It needs, there must be an investigation to hold this issue. And if you don't do that, because policies and everything, are products of, having dialogue, investigation, to know the root cause of it, so that you can develop policies that will address those issues. But if government sit down and fold their hands, and every day somebody is dying, you just fire brigade, police rush there, take pictures and do their investigation. Okay, this is the suspect, you take him to court, and you do that. At the end of the day, that will not solve. It's keep on continuing. So we must have a solution to it. And I call on the National Assembly, if the government is not taking the responsibility, the National Assembly has a responsibility. And the responsibility is to make sure that they call. When there was a COVID-19, they call a state of emergency. They address the issues. They came with policies, regulations that people, how will we, run, in terms of,
maybe there was fund, that's why.
Yeah, and this thing too, they should, that's why we have what we call contingent funds. In every budget, that you have a budget that is specialized for emergencies. It's called a contingency fund. So this is an emergency. So the National Assembly must make sure that they actually do the needful. They are there to represent the people. So this will continue, and it's continuing, and the rate is increasing every day.
So nimboto to fanan oppositional fanan na fanala because ikajale model ka ning manza kundama nyinge oppositional nyantakake. Some people will say ko Gambia has weak oppositions. So ite oje nyadile.
No, yala, ni be oppositional blame, it's gonna be funny because opposition, you don't give them any authority. They don't have any command under the police or even the military. So opposition, all what they can do is go out and release a press release or explain not until this A and B and C. But they are not in power. So somebody that you didn't entrust the affairs of your country, you cannot hold that person accountable. That's not how, for me, opposition, the only thing they have is just to denounce the government, to say that, okay, government it is wrong. If this was my government, this is A and B. Well, then you release a press release to say that, okay, this A and B happens, sir, and you address the issue. You condemn the government, you say that this is the...
but they accuse you that you are the only opposition party who oppose an opposition.
No, it's the people need.
It's like you are anti-UDP. Let me put it that way.
No, people, they will always have their. I have no grudge. Like I deal with UDP. My closest friends are UDP. We have what we call divergent views, in terms of how we want to run these affairs of the country. That's the issue that we have. Apart from that, there is nothing personal. For us, I believe in People Democratic Organization for Independence and Socialism, and I want to rule this country. I want to take over this country. My political party. They also have, their party, and they want their party leader to come. So we must have divergent view in terms of when we are debating on social media, in terms of what DOI can do and what UDP cannot do, what UDP can do and what DOI can. So we'll debate on those things. But Gambia here, once you disagree with people, they take it as you are an enemy. They don't understand that this is healthy. We disagree and agree. But the moment you disagree with somebody, they term you as an enemy. And this is why our political landscape is not that much healthy. It's accepted, to disagree. Convince me that, Kexx, what you said is A and B is wrong. And based on B and C, let's debate on policies and program. Convince me. But once you disagree with people like here, they say, my UDP, UDP, they start to label you other things. But tomorrow, those are the people that shake your hand. I have no personal grudge or content about UDP. My Ahmad Sanneh is my uncle, my Tonyaa is Kexx Sanneh, who is UDP. So I'm so close to UDP in terms of family relationship than any other person. When I see Dabo, I have high regards for this man. He has sacrificed so much for this country. So, my level of politics has passed that level, whereby I will hate somebody because we have a divergent view. But
term limit.
Yeah.
Do you support Barrow's candidacy 2026?
Yeah, actually, for me, in Niajibe Baronata Nyame in power, if that's where I'm by George, I would say that I didn't support him to go beyond I meant for Mole Gambian Ole, because Barrow came for a transitional project. Baronata for a purpose to put this country on a solid foundation, and we start what we call multi-party contest in this country. In the history of this country, because incumbents always a cool controller in this country. There was no level political ground. Incumbency, once he's there, he have the government machineries, he have the government funds and everything, free for himself. So there was no level political ground. So Nkoko, let's now come together and join and create what we call Coalition 2016, so that we'll have, when we win, we will put the foundation there, whereby we'll have what we call a multi-party contest in a level political field, whereby everybody will go and seek the mandate of the people, and the Gambian people will decided then the party will come into office. This is what we have intended, and Barrow has been the flag bearer, came before the whole people in Kairaba. He stood and said that he is the presidential candidate for the coalition party members, and he is elected, to serve. When he wins, he will serve for a period of 3 years transition, and after that 3 years, he will not even contest in the next election. He will be a neutral person and allow other political parties to go, so that there will be no incumbency, because we want to end incumbency in this country. And he went to IEC, and this is what people fail to understand. Barrow have a manifesto that was tendered at the IEC, so that's why when people are saying that, okay, it was not signed and all that thing, but in IEC, there's a document that was tendered at the IEC, and Barrow's first paragraph of that document, I, Adama Barrow, being the flag bearer of Coalition 2016, supported by 7 political parties, hereby offer myself to be the flag bearer who will serve for a transitional period of 3 years. This is Mealonko Wale tendered. So if Barrow went, now he's looking for almost another 10 years or 15 years, Kantandilako is something Mealonko nobody should support it based on the history Barrow Naranyame into power. But if you have to look at it in the legal terms, in terms of Loi Memfo, we have a constitution, the 1997 constitution, that doesn't have a term limit. It only says that any person who is elected can serve as much as the person can, unless the Gambian people decided to remove it through the ballot box. So if you look at the legal angle of it, you will say that yes, legally he can contest,
yes,
but
right.
morally he should not. If I was Barrow, I would not have contested, because how you came into power, because of the support of nobody knows you before, because of the support of the political parties that came together. They forget about their interests. All of them they have sacrificed maybe more than you. They would have said, by force, I must be the flag bearer. Some will say that we are the majority. Some will say we champion this discussion until we are here. We must lead. But they all, make sure that they adhere to what they agree on. Let's go for Congress. Let's go for a convention, and people will vote, and whoever is elected, we will all support him. And they supported him, they campaigned with him, they do everything. Even when the ins passed, they protected him. Some even sacrificed their life to stay, to make sure that Barrow's power, is the mandate of the Gambian people is established, and supports international community. So you should be somebody who should be grateful to the Gambian people to say that since I'm designed for a purpose, and I have achieved that purpose, lay the foundation where we will have institutional reform, constitutional reform, all this reform. Now we'll have a Gambia whereby, why we are talking about corruption, because we don't have strong institutions that will hold people accountable. But that was the idea of the coalition. Let's have strong institutions. Let's establish the Constitutional Review Commission that will have the provisions that will hold people accountable when you are caught in corruption and corruption activities. When it's time to human rights violation, you have the Human Rights Commission where you can go there and address even government officials and other things. So we will have a strong institution, but now we have the incumbency. And incumbency matters in Gambian's election. And unless we do away from incumbency, because they have all the opportunity. Like I was telling somebody, I said that I think we need to come National Assembly, either they will come with a private membership bill to make sure that President resign before the election. But you cannot have a president who is incumbent and he goes until during the election he's still the president. That incumbency is there. Let's say that, okay, 6 months before the election, the person who is elected resign and the speaker or the vice president takes over, and you know that you have a neutral ground, and you go and seek the mandate of the people. You will not have the state resources at your free will. You will not have the state machineries. You have the armies and the soldiers. Once we don't remove that one, we will not have a level political ground where people can contest on a level field. Unless we have that, we will have a problem. So these are some of the issues that we should have. So for me, I will recommend Barrow to not seek for another mandate based on how the history he came in. But legally, he is. So it's his own consent to decide.
He should step down, your opinion.
Yes, absolutely.
And then overall, his performance, over 10, where will you put him?
Yeah, actually, like I told you, he came for a purpose. Did we achieve that purpose? Barrow came for a purpose.
Did we achieve the purpose?
We didn't. We achieved some, but we didn't achieve, and we could have achieved it, but we didn't achieve it. Why? Because politically, because you are not thinking of, just leaving a legacy, but you are thinking of next election, how will I win? So sometimes you diverted from the whole project, that brings you into power. Like presently, we should not be here talking about, the 9th Constitution. But up to now, we have the 1997 Constitution. And this is the Constitution that all of them criticized when they were in the opposition, that this is a document that's not fit for its purpose. This is a document that is, they call it every type of document. They call it Soldier's Constitution. They call it every type of name. But 7 years, 9 years now, we are still governed by the same Constitution that you criticized before. Why? The political will is not there. If the political will is there and somebody who decided just to come for a transitional period will not look at a clause that says that, okay, your term will be counted, your first term will be counted, and based on those things, that's why the Constitution was failed. We are presently here, up to now, the TRRC recommendations have been decided. Up to now, we didn't even establish the courts, how we will prosecute people. Victims are still waiting for justice. How soon will we have those justice? Where's the institutional reform? Where's the security reform? Because our securities were used, has, the quasi-ness in our security before, because they were more of a security of force rather than service. How do you change them to understand that they are securities of service? They have to render service to the citizen rather than the force. Even that's why I said even the PIU, like the police force, the force has to be removed there to say police service, because sometimes even the words, counts. You remove police force. There is no force there. You are there to serve the people. So these are things, but the institution, the security reform will bring all those things into play. So how do you bring those into play? These are the things that Barrow was elected for. So if he didn't achieve these things and we're still waiting for the achievement of those things, I will say that 4 over 10.
4 over 10.
Absolutely.
Barrow has failed 4 over 10. All right. So conclusively, what advice do you have for Gambians, and then most especially the youths, and the unemployment youths and the people in the street? Just general advice. What would be your final words?
Yeah, to say that we are at a crossroads, and the young people must take the ownership of the country. We are in the 21st century, and if you look at other parts of the world, young people are at the forefront. The decision makings that they are there, and we cannot sit down and think that leadership will be given to us in a silver plate. We must demand for it, and young people must be ready to demand and to take over their country.
Political participation.
Political participation, and to know that any decision that has been made now, you look at even the loans agreements that we make, they will say, okay, the grace period is next 50 years to come, next 30. So you are the ones who's going to pay those things. So you must be part of the decision making to know that what are the loans that are taken on your behalf, so that, the country will not be indebted like it is indebted now. If you look at our debt burden, almost $110 billion, that's what we are talking about. $110 billion is our debt burden present as we are speaking. Wow. So how do we address those issues? All the decisions are political, so that's why when I see young people that are political, it hurts me, because your everyday life is decided by the politicians. In terms of what type of health sector is decided by the politicians. In terms of what type of agricultural sector we will have, it determined by the politicians. Every sector of our society, politicians will look at. So young people must take over the country to make sure that political partition, another councillors election, let them come out and offer themselves. They cannot sit down and wait and think that it will be given to them in a silver plate. When it's come to National Assembly, let's go there and make sure that we make a decision, for the future generation to come, because we don't want to inherit a Gambia that our children to inherit a Gambia that we have inherited. No, because they will not be proud of the Gambia that they will have if we allow them to inherit the Gambia that we have inherited. But how do we address that? Is us to make sure that we are in the decision making. But to know that we have a responsibility in a country. Every citizen has a responsibility. It's either to fulfill your contract between you and your country, or you betray the contract. And the contract is to make sure that you are ready to serve your country to the best of your ability. Whatever sector that you can, make sure that you contribute to the best of your ability. That's giving back to your country, whether being a carpenter or other sector, but know that you have a role. You have a contract between the citizens and the country, and we all must contribute to make sure that the development of this country. Yes, we can have our divergent views. We can have our different political party, but let's know that there's something that binds us together, and that's the Gambia. And anything that becomes a secondary matter, but the Gambia becomes a first matter. And collectively, if we come together and see each other as a building block, that together we can build a nation all of us can be proud of, then we'll have a Gambia that we can be proud of. But if you look at, in our particular, Kexx has called for this, but you look at the political color of Kexx, rather what is Kexx is preaching, then we will not have a Gambia that all of us can be proud of. So I think when the young people come together, because we are the majority in this country, any type of leadership that we want, we can have it if we decide to make sure that we come together. We forget about our difference. We'll have that. In every society we must have. But let's take those things as secondary issues. But when it comes to the nation, Kexx suggested this. You look at the interest. What is there? Is it for the nation? Let's all come together and support it, irrespective of his political affiliation.
Let's all come together, and that's all we have from Mr. Kexx Sanneh, and thanks for coming to this show, and we appreciate it. May God bless you. We all learn a lot from you today, and this is Tonyaa Kesso until we come your way next week. Thank you, Gamgo, our main sponsor for this program.
Gamgo comes from a sense of patriotism and also wanting to see this country, this beautiful country, on the global stage, competing and also collaborating with the rest of the world.
mandinkol ko niamoy kamoto lati e salon dindi ngono bar furduk wo mukke balti season 2 of Tonyaa Kesso execute luntan sifa belbe tarlale nyim banta ba nyim bembato ka fo me Tonyaa Kesso Alhaji Muhammad aya teda men jela kadiya sponsored by Seaview Hotel bar jomal ba ko ma pour ka sembentu ya wolom gangoti Gambia bele dabe nyim programme ote a mutanfe nga mutefe nga nyoya ya nyola season 2 of Tonyaa Kesso execute ni nambe dula le me alon ka foka nene man soto nyim banko kan ni nyim programme o ye dang anin saya le kanyante Tonyaa Kesso adabe mutala lun jomalla on this 8th of February from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. akana mo dang katung naye dang wallahi bekala lakira fure wolti to nimisoni moneo gam gole ba koma mandinkol ko niamoy kamoto lati e salon dindi ngono bar furduk wo mukke balti season 2 of Tonyaa